What's the quickest way you've seen someone completely derail their life? My sister owned her own real estate company, was worth millions in properties around town. Her and her husband got into drugs. After they blew through their savings, they began selling their properties to support their habit. They separated after he slept with her best friend and got her pregnant. Sister ended up in jail, then living in her car, and surviving off sex work. After her third stint in jail, she worked on getting her life back, had a little apartment, a dog, a nice car. Then she relapsed. I haven't seen or heard from her since our mom died almost 9 years ago. I have no idea if she is still alive. Over what time span did this happen? Seems difficult to burn through millions for only 2 people. Maybe 5 years? She had numerous properties worth millions, but sold them for pennies. One time, I rode around with my mom looking for her. We went to one of her houses and we found her with like 5 or 7 strangers just chilling on the floor. No furniture, no electricity. A buddy of mine went from having a decent job and apartment to living in his car within about 6 months because he discovered sports betting apps and convinced himself he had a system. The worst part was watching him double down every time he lost, thinking the next big win would fix everything. My aunt's husband got romantically or sexually involved with one of those, "Hey, is this wrong name?" scam texts. Responded, got sucked in, and they convinced him to empty his wife's retirement. He has no money and relies on her financially, for an investment opportunity. My aunt noticed him texting 24/7 and went through his phone the night before the sell order for Fidelity was supposed to go through. He's terminally ill, and she's also his full-time caretaker. He has not apologized because he didn't physically have sex with someone else. Doesn't realize he's about to die alone. Thank God she caught that. Insane luck. Call it intuition. A cousin of mine got himself arrested for reckless driving, which in of itself is bad, but isn't totally life-ending. However, his decision while being held in jail to try and escape, and in the process punch a female cop in the face so hard she had to be rushed to the ER and required facial reconstruction surgery, was pretty life-changing, and he's now facing 17 to 40 years on a myriad of charges. What the fuck? Why? I'm honestly not sure. He's from that side of the family that we don't really keep in contact with much. From my understanding, he wasn't on drugs or anything, but he's never been the brightest, and he's fairly young, early 20s, so I imagine there was a lot of adrenaline, fear, and lack of impulse control involved. Had a coworker once who got busted for creeping on underage kids in chat rooms. Turns out the kid he was trying to talk to was actually the cops. They investigated and found heinous shit on his phone. Now he's a registered sex offender, and got sentenced to multiple years in jail. Got fired from his job, obviously, lost all of his friends and the person he was dating, got kicked out by his roommates, and now even his family can hardly look at him. College frat party. Very chill vibe, not a rager. Mildly drunk kid, mid-conversation, decides to hop up and have a seat on the railing of a deck we were out on. He hopped up and did one of those panicked flails that you do when your chair is about to tip backwards on you, falls backwards off the deck. Lands on his head. Medevac to the nearest trauma center. Did not make it through the night. I didn't know him, just seen him around campus. What was really sad to see was most people assumed he was being a drunk idiot at a raging frat party and wound up doing some dumb stunt. He really just made a minor drunken mistake or miscalculation and paid for it with his life. I'm a cardiologist. A friend or coworker went from being one of the best doctors we had, having a loving wife and kids, to stealing medication, to being fired, to being kicked out and divorced, to harder drugs, to in the ground at 34. Didn't even take 9 months. I work in healthcare. In just the last couple years I've seen 3 doctors get fired for various acts of stupidity or bad judgment that never affected patient safety but still were egregious enough to piss off administration. I've also had 2 doctor colleagues commit suicide. Can't count the number of marriages I've seen fall apart. It's a stressful career and some people compensate really badly. A dentist I know had everything you could want in life: money, a big house, wife and several kids, a plane, hobbies, friends, 4-day work week. Ended up going up to a hiking trail with a gun. Someone called the police. He was having a mental break or something. Cop held him at gunpoint. Friends and wife got there. Everyone tried to talk him down. Cop shot him in the shoulder. Then he shot himself. Basically ruined his wife and kids' life forever. This also happened 5 days before Christmas. You never know what's going on in people's heads, even when they look like they are winning at life. Wasn't the quickest due to his choices, but it went from 100 to 0 real fast. Army buddy of mine had a wife and 2 young kids. They seemed in love, we hung out a decent clip. He wanted the army to be his career and his wife always seemed supportive. Then I was supposed to go on temporary duty to rest a new system for a month out of state, and we needed another person. He volunteered hoping to learn from my guys how to be able to slay with the systems. We get back to North Carolina, head out for the weekend. He doesn't show up at Monday formation. He lived off post and the unit wanted to keep things quiet if possible. They asked me to go over there and do what I do. House was quiet, no response at the door, can't see shit through the windows, but yard and inside seems suspiciously clean. I jumped the fence and used his spare to let me in the back door. While we were out systems testing, his wife drained all the accounts, moved her and the kids out of state, deleted all their socials, and changed the numbers. The letter she left him told him no matter how hard he tried, he'd never find them. She was tired of the kids not having a real dad who chased army shit instead of getting out ASAP to be present for them. Yeah. I found what was left of him after a shotgun to the mouth. Not fun. Jesus dude, that's awful. Hope you're doing okay from seeing that. I'm not doing okay. Haven't been doing okay for a generation. But I'm still here and that's the important bit. Just always trying to be good or better. Punch somebody, they fell back and hit their head, they were dead before the ambulance arrived. That's how to go from a night at the pub to life in jail in a split second. This exact scenario happened to a guy I work with. I don't know if he even did any jail time, or very little. Just have a record but hasn't really had any lasting effects on his life career-wise. Sounds like the other guy was the aggressor, he pushed him away and same thing. Shit happens. Fighting is stupid. Neighbor fucked her hairdresser. Her kids won't talk to her, the husband kicked her out, and she's sleeping on the dude's couch and he wants her gone too. They'd been together over 10 years. Not using birth control. Dropping out of high school. Former coworker got a contract to paint military base housing units. He would paint 2 per day at roughly $500 each, profit about $750 per day after supplies. This was 2010. There were hundreds of units and they would constantly turn over and need to be painted again, leaving him with an almost unlimited amount of work for great money. His dad got diagnosed with cancer, he became the primary caretaker. Dad was prescribed OxyContin. He begins taking his dad's pain meds and gets addicted. Wife confronts him, big fight, he threatens his wife with a gun, gets arrested for making terroristic threats, convicted of felony. Divorced, loses the military contract, goes to jail, child support for 4 kids, gets out of jail, goes to bar and gets drunk, drives home, DUI, back to jail, no job, no credit, homeless, dad dies, kids won't talk to him. He ended up okay, worked his way back over the years. Did about as good as he could with his circumstances. Still talk with him occasionally. My father-in-law is 65. Was married to his wife for 37 years and has 3 daughters. The picture-perfect family from the outside looking in. He was well respected in his career field and was also an interim pastor or deacon at our local church. After he retired, his health started to deteriorate drastically and he started drinking. This past November we learned that he had fell for a love scam on Facebook and had spent his entire life savings, took out a second mortgage on his home, and opened up numerous credit cards to send this fake person money. All in all, he sent them roughly $300,000. He was truly convinced she was going to move here from overseas and they were going to ride off into the sunset, leave everything behind, and live happily ever after. Now he is divorced, lives in a crummy apartment about 45 minutes from his family, and is miserable. He can barely walk and has essentially zero control over his bowel movements. To make matters worse, he has very narcissistic tendencies and thinks that none of it is his fault, and instead blames his ex-wife, claiming that she didn't love him and show him any affection. As you can imagine, this has affected my wife, her sisters, and mother immensely, and caused all sorts of problems and stress over the last 8 months. But long story short, he lost everything. His assets, his family, his health, and happiness. I would be shocked if he's even alive a year from now. One of my co-residents during anesthesia residency decided to try injecting fentanyl during his final year of training. Just a little at first, no big deal. But the dose he needed to get high just kept going up. Next thing he knew, he was going to the bathroom for breaks and injecting 500 micrograms at a time. Got sloppy one day and left his junk in the trash, tourniquet, empty vial, syringe, and a nurse found it all shortly after. That nurse reported the unusual trash and it took almost no time to find out who was recently in that bathroom. Less than an hour later he was being escorted out of the hospital by security. Criminal charges for diverting controlled substances, medical license suspended indefinitely, court-ordered inpatient rehab, fired from residency. He tried to get back in for years but nobody would take him. Wife divorced him and got full custody of his kid. He was in his early 30s, at least $300,000 in debt, and last I heard he was working in a research lab making substantially less than any other physician I know. Never got his medical license back. The only silver lining is that he got caught before he killed himself. My cousin was accepted to a pretty prestigious aviation program in high school. He was very good at it. He wanted to be a commercial pilot. A few months into the program his girlfriend got pregnant and he dropped out to help support her. They both work at McDonald's now. Online gambling. I think it will be the downfall of many people and many are struggling and not telling people close to them. Manic episode with psychosis. Lost everything, family, home, friends. Doing okay now though. On better meds, have a job, slowly rebuilding. Friend of mine worked at UPS as a driver. He made about $100,000 a year. It was incredible for him because he was a bit of a train wreck all around and was just a person with a lot of rough edges. I always thought he was very fortunate to have that job because it didn't really require that he do anything very professional but paid very well. Well, one weekend he got a DWI and he probably would have been fine but he went into work on Monday and drove his shift. Afterward, he told his manager that he got a DWI. That was a big deal because he didn't tell them before he went out on his route. They fired him, and after some union dispute, he got his job back. But he was going to have to go back to a lesser pay moving packages and not driving for probably 6 months, until his license was able to get cleared up and he could get back to driving again. But he got too pissed off about not being able to drive and a few weeks later cussed out one of the supervisors and ended up getting fired. Now, 15 years later, he works shitty little jobs and still doesn't earn even half what he made before. He just couldn't keep his damn mouth shut and just go to work. Married with kids, lovely house, good job as a manager at a big bank. One day he, for some reason, absconds with a moderately sized pile of cash from the vault. The next day, realizing that an audit will discover the theft, he confesses and returns the money. Of course he is immediately fired, can't get another job, loses his house, wife leaves him and takes the kids. All for a few tens of thousands of dollars that he didn't even need. No idea what he's doing now. Intrusive thoughts is the major winner of this thread, it seems, followed by drugs, not even once, and all things horny. The people who were heavily affected by accidents are the ones that's super sad, they've had a terrible hand all around. A friend in New York City went to his 15-year high school reunion for the weekend and fell under the spell of his bodacious high school crush. Blindsided his wonderful wife. Quit his job in New York, moved to Florida to live with her, which was too far to organize regular visitation with his 2 kids under 5. I tried to warn him, he told me, I still love my wife, I just don't know if I'm still in love with her. Dude, what the fuck does that even mean? Do you still get along well with her, and get laid regularly? Okay then. It lasted 6 months. Child support was hammering him so bad, he could only afford to rent a shabby room when he moved back to New York. Found a job making way less than he used to. Spent 2 years trying to win his wife back. Finally she said, nope, not happening, because you dropped me and your kids like a bad habit, and I'll never get over that, and I'll never be able to trust you again. He's been miserable ever since. I had a coworker who constantly complained and blamed everyone else for his problems. I encouraged him to raise his concerns at a project meeting with a vice president. It went better than I expected and he was gone by the end of the week. Murdered a school teacher or drug dealer in the late 80s when he was 18. Killed her because his mentally ill brain thought he saw folders on all her shelves detailing her plans to kill everyone he knew. Bragged to everyone he knew on the bus back from her place. Bragged to everyone he knew in the central business district he met. Was arrested, classified by a psychiatrist as having a rare, incurable violent disorder. He's still in jail. What on earth was he diagnosed with, if you remember? He was diagnosed with 4 conditions: schizophrenia, narcissistic personality disorder, psychosis and dramatic or erratic personality disorder. She said he would always be a violent threat to society. He was apparently tested at an IQ of 150 at age 11. Did this happen in Australia? It took place in Canberra. His name is David Glenn Pike. I met him a day or two before the offense, realized he had something wrong with him after a few minutes. Colleague starts out great at new job, gets through probation, then gets out of control drunk at a company party. She makes out with the boss's date and hooks up with another colleague while her husband is there. Fast forward, she's dating this colleague now and their relationship is causing disciplinary measures at work. They decide to double down and sign a new lease together anyways. She then lies about getting poached by a customer to leverage a raise, and when it doesn't work she actually has to quit. Her boyfriend then follows suit by not showing up and ghosting the company. Now he's a stay-at-home stepdad. Oh, did I mention she has 3 kids? After being with this girl for 6 months and they both don't have a job. Kind of a 2-for-1. A few years ago, I was looking up people from my childhood and found the story of the little sister of one of my grade school friends. When I knew her, she was a sweet young girl in Girl Scouts. As an adult, she and her boyfriend lost a kid in a fire. Sometime later, while she was pregnant again, her boyfriend shot a friend in the head. From what these stores I could find that were in Paywalled, no real motive was established. The boyfriend just said they were messing around. He pointed the gun at his friend, and the gun went off. The boyfriend woke her up and told her what happened, and she helped him get rid of the body. She had her baby while awaiting trial and ended up getting a few years in prison. After her release, she had several more run-ins, but the law for minor stuff. I found a series of mugshots from her various arrests, and in each one she looked rougher than the last. In the last one, face tattoos had made an appearance. Friends of my parents. The husband owned a bike mechanic shop, and the wife did the accounts for it. The wife started telling my parents that he was getting violent towards her, and my parents were getting worried for her. One day, the husband took their dog for a walk like he did every morning, and came back home to his wife lying on the bed in a pool of her own blood. She'd shot herself using his gun. She knew the combination to his gun safe or figured it out. She was still alive. Where I live there are pretty strict firearm laws. The police arrested him and charged him for her murder. They figured he shot her because it was his gun and she shouldn't have had access to it. Got sent to prison, a really scary prison that's well known for being essentially controlled by gangs, while awaiting his trial. Meanwhile, the wife was in ICU. Half her face was blown off. She shot herself with the gun aiming up under her chin and the bullet went through her nose. She had reconstructive surgery and miraculously woke up and was able to testify that she had indeed shot herself. My parents visited her and she told them after she shot herself, she was still conscious all the way until the ambulance arrived, and she said she immediately regretted doing it after the fact, while lying there with her face half blown off. She died due to complications from surgery less than a week or 2 after testifying. The husband was set free due to her testament. He was sorting through her possessions and her phone afterwards, and their accounts, obviously in grief. Turned out she had been gambling pretty much all their money away. Every day, constant payments went off from online gambling. He found out from all the notifications to her phone. My dad showed me the screenshots. My dad, with a background in accounting and he's in IT, helped him find all the evidence to look through everything. She'd lost all their money and decided to shoot herself since she couldn't see another way out. This was a good few years ago. Luckily, the husband recovered financially. His business ended up doing really well, and would have done well before if she wasn't gambling away their money. He owns multiple properties now and is newly engaged. My parents know that the wife was lying about the domestic violence. I think she might have told them before she died, I'm not sure. I remember she joined my parents and I for a small New Year's gathering just a few months before all that happened. She seemed really chilled, I don't know. She was pretty quiet, but I would have never guessed what was going on. It was pretty shocking for everyone.